Hello everyone, great to see you again, at least virtually. I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit today about what is going on in the world economy, how different markets are reacting and what's going on out there, as well as to talk to you a little bit today about some of our different fund managers and highlight what they're doing to get us through and also come out ahead on these times that we are currently living in. So I thought I would start by sharing some good news. There are different economies across the world that are starting to open back up and get things back rolling. So Europe in particular has had some of their countries decide to open things up and try and get the economy opened up and rebooted again. So Austria, Italy, Spain, for example, are all taking small steps to opening. Austria has opened small businesses. They've looked at gardening centers, home renovation centers. They've opened those. They have a plan to open hairdressers and bigger shops towards the end of this month, beginning of May, with a goal of opening the hospitality industry, restaurants, and hotels toward mid-May. So good news there. We're starting to see things coming out the other side. China has also reopened their economy, started up manufacturing as well. And again, on the good news front, we've started to get some data and some numbers out of there that actually was a little better than initially was predicted for China. So it gives us some hope to see what this could look like moving forward. At this point, the US has not announced any dates to firmly reopen the economy in the country. While Trump has said that he would like to see it get started again, it's really going to be up to the individual senators, it sounds like, at this point. And they sort of range across the country on views in terms of when things can be opened and how that is going to look. Canada as well at this point doesn't have any concrete plans to open our economy and get our businesses back open. With at this point, the Prime Minister saying that we will be waiting on a vaccine or other treatment options before we really open things up fully. That said, I think it's a good thing to focus on some of the economies that are opening, seeing some of these countries that were really hardly hit, having some positive perspective and moving forward, and we'll be able to watch them to see how things turn around and get somewhat of an idea for what we may be able to see here in the future. So good news on that front. And I thought, again, I'd share some information on how our fund managers are handling this and highlight a couple of individual perspectives at this point, talking about, again, getting through this, but really coming out the other side. What is this going to look like on the other side? Because as we're seeing, there is another side, of course. So today I thought I would talk about our market call and contact with two specific fund managers. Richard Matheson from BlackRock. He is the portfolio manager on the IG International pool. And then also Leon Eldeman is from JP Morgan and is the portfolio manager for the IG emerging markets. So starting with BlackRock and the international pool, they actually have a little bit of a different approach in the way they look at things, and they use quant management, meaning they take tons and tons of information, use technology at their disposal to try and pick the companies they want to invest in then. So they were talking to us, and it was actually really interesting to hear him talk about some of the strategies they're using. They are taking in tons of information on a regular basis from social media right now, looking at what companies people are saying, I just can't wait to get my Starbucks when this is done, or my Tim Hortons, or a new pair of shoes, or whatever that may be, and using that information and processing the huge amounts of information on social media to see what companies have a positive spin coming out of this. What do they think is going to be the companies that are picked up quite quickly and their customers come back quite quickly versus some that maybe aren't being as positively reviewed, or you're hearing negative comments about things throughout this. So they're using that information as a starting point to help decide what companies they want to look at. They are using information on companies that are lobbying governments. There's been tons of stimulus promised by governments around the world to get us out of this. So which companies have the opportunity to benefit most from that and get jobs coming out of that? And can we take advantage of those opportunities and buy companies that we believe will be profitable quickly from those stimulus packages? And then, of course, they are looking at that as the other side of this, but then again, overlaying that, and the technology allows them to stress test those portfolios, stress test those specific companies to say, okay, they look good, everybody's talking about them, they're great, but what happens if there is a another outbreak? What happens if this goes on for longer or there's a small outbreak in a specific area? And they can use that data and that analysis to help make decisions on companies to buy. So at this point, their goal really is to reduce the market risk and increasing instead specific companies and really looking at it from that level. So lots of neat information there on how that can look, looking at supply chains and all of these kind of things and how they can go back and forth. So great information, and really, I believe, doing a great job to position those funds coming out of this. The other person who I found really interesting to listen to in terms of their investment philosophy was Leon. Again, that's the emerging markets manager from JP Morgan. And we got to hear what they use as their goal for picking businesses. And it was quite interesting to hear that they're looking at businesses. They're thinking from a business owner perspective as opposed to a short-term investor perspective, which in emerging markets can be a little bit of a different approach, and which they believe and we believe is why they have done so much better compared to some of their peers in that market. They're not looking for a one-year turnaround to sell these necessarily. They are looking for businesses that can sustain long-term growth, that are going to be around for a long time, and that they can buy and hold theoretically if they want to for long periods of time and continue to see that increased profitability. They haven't changed that with COVID. They're still looking long-term. They're looking for companies that have balance sheets to get through this, thrive on the other side. They're looking for companies that are still going to be viable when you start looking at companies that are socially responsible. They have not reduced or changed their goal of having socially responsible companies in those parts of the world, because they do believe that long term we will come out of this and our focus will go back to that. And those companies are the ones that are poised to succeed and continue on in the long term. So it was really great, very interesting to see two completely different ways of looking at things, but both that have proven to be successful, both that have really good, strong beliefs and a strong system in place. And I think it just goes to highlight again the benefit of having well-diversified portfolios. That is ultimately one of the things that we can do to control volatility in the market. Having diversified portfolios with different strategies and different management and working together in the portfolio. And that's really where myself and my team come in, and helping pick and helping create portfolios that have little pieces of all of these different types of management in them to help you get through, thrive, and be better on the other end. For anybody who has any questions, please feel free, reach out. I'm happy to share more information, answer questions. I also do have videos available from some of the different fund managers that we have had the pleasure of hearing from. I will continue to share those over time. For anybody who's interested, please reach out. I'm happy to share them. I don't want to overwhelm anybody. So if you want them, ask. I will get them to you. If you don't, I don't want to send out too much information, because I do know we are getting bombarded with information in this time. So that's it for today. Thank you guys very much. Great to talk to you again, and hope to see you again soon in person. Have a great day. Bye now.